Hey Frank, you look really upset. And I was wondering if we could have a chat.
Oh, sorry, you startled me. Sorry. Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Okay, so I'm going to pause throughout the role play and just show you guys that I just asked a closed-ended question to gain permission from Frank to see if it would be okay for me to come in. That was a closed question. Is that okay? And he said yes or no. Oh, thanks so much. I might just take a seat. Tell me a bit about what's going on for you at the moment. I can see you're really upset.
I've been really overwhelmed by my feelings and really quite, just really struggling a little bit at the moment. Really struggling.
Do you know what that's about at all?
Oh, I might, not really at the moment. I just sort of needed a moment to sort of regroup, which is sort of why I walked away. Yeah, not feeling too well, actually. I feel really physically sick.
Oh, that sounds awful. I'm so sorry that you're feeling that way.
Yeah, no, it's not great.
You mentioned you mentioned before we came on this trip that you wanted to bring the kids out into a country adventure activity as they'd become, in the words that you use, they'd become city slickers.
Yeah, no, I felt the kids were spending a bit much time on their screens, and I wanted to sort of get into the outdoors a bit. I'd lived in the country before, and thought they might really get something out of it instead of, being on their screens most of the day. Yeah.
Yeah. What were you hoping for them for today?
Oh, I think probably doing something together and, just, getting a bit in touch with nature in the country. There's not a lot of opportunity in the city that much. So, yeah.
So it sounds like family is really important to you, and being outdoors and in nature is something that's really important to you.
Yeah, just trying to sort of, I suppose, I don't know, keep in touch with country, I think. I miss it a lot, living in the city and working in there now. So.
Yeah. Can you tell me a bit about what you do for work?
Yeah, actually, I'm an appraiser, and I used to work out from where I was living in the country, but I've had to move into the city, and I work out of an office now and do a lot more metropolitan and city work now. So, yeah.
That sounds very interesting. And my colleagues have told me you've been coming to some of these go out venture activities. You've come to a few of them before. And how have you found them in the past?
Yeah, pretty good actually. I just sort of, it's been a bit challenging today, but usually it's been really good. And I think that the family's a little bit disconnected with just the media and the boys and the screen time, and thought we might sort of maybe get a bit closer doing some of these activities maybe.
Yeah. And I think that sounds like a great idea, to try and spend some time together with your family and to be in the great outdoors. I'm just wondering, before we continue with the conversation, I just wanted to let you know that everything that we're talking about today is in confidence. I don't need to repeat it. Unless there's a person at risk of harm, and then of course I do need to report it. But other than that, we do take case notes and things like that of what's happened on the adventures. But
nothing
that you and I are talking about right now needs to be disclosed, and if it did, I'd let you know.
Okay,
is that okay?
Yeah. So if you're going to take notes, so who gets to see those?
You do. You get to see those, and then they stay in our system, just so that we can keep a record and keep track of what's been going on in the adventure camps that we have and in the activities that we run. And sometimes it's helpful for other people, other workers, only workers that are coming on board, just to see where things have been at for you in the past. And today, for example, when things have been a bit stressful for you, we want to make sure that we keep track of that and make sure that we support you and that we're here for you when things get a bit bumpy.
Oh, good, because, just today has been really challenging, and I just didn't want, people reading. If you're going to make some notes, I don't want that out there. I feel a bit embarrassed and a bit stressed about it all, actually.
Yeah, that's really understandable, that you would feel, that you would want to know what's going into your notes, and that you might feel a bit uncomfortable with that. So I'd be really happy for us if when we do notes a bit later today, when we get back to the centre, I'd be really happy for us to do them together so that you're comfy and happy with what we put into the notes. Does that sound all right?
Yeah, that's good. Thanks for that.
So how are you feeling now that we've just started having a bit more of a chat? How are you feeling in yourself? You mentioned before that you're feeling really sick in the belly.
I sort of still feel pretty nauseous, but I feel a bit calmer actually talking to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's good. So thanks, a big
Yeah.
thanks. I still just feel very stressed, and yeah, it's just been a bit frightening and a bit overwhelming. I didn't
Yeah.
expect to feel like this. I was really looking
Yeah.
forward to today. So yeah.
Has anything like that happened to you before, where you felt that kind of stress and anxiety?
Yeah, many years ago, many years ago now. I think about it, and yeah, and I really, yeah, that was pretty awful. Do you have time for me to talk to you
Oh,
about
absolutely.
this?
Frank, I'm here for you. We're here for you, and we'd love to. Yeah, I would love to continue this conversation. The group are there. They're all having lunch and they're chilled out and relaxed. So I think it's important for us to go through this now and see what's really going on for you.
Well, if you don't mind, I haven't talked to anyone apart from my wife Susie for years about this, and yeah, I don't know what's happened today, to be honest. But many years ago, when we lived in the country, there was a shocking flood, and my dad and myself, I was only 11, I think about 11 at the time, and a neighbour. We went out to check on these cattle to see if we could move them to higher ground because of the flood. And I sort of got a bit close to the edge of the boat, and we're in this sort of small boat, and fell out into the water and got swept away and sort of got caught under these branches in the moving water. It was dark and it was really frightening, and I was rescued. The neighbour just sort of felt someone grab me by the back of the shirt and grab me back into the boat. It was all sort of happening. It was really, really full on, and I just remember being really frightened, and then sort of Dad yelling at me a bit, and then when we got back to safety out of the boat, and he was telling me to get over it, and boys don't cry and all that sort of stuff, and he was a bit of a man's man, and I get that, but it was a real shock, and it was something sort of changed. It was really quite full on at the time, and it was a long time ago though, a really long time ago.
It's a really terrifying experience, though, Frank, that you've had. Really terrifying.
Yeah, it was, and I sort of thought I'd moved away from that memory a lot and hadn't really had any thoughts about that for, I don't know, probably 20 years. 20 years, and, that I've thought about that.
Yeah, and then it sounds like today when you got back out on the water, a lot of that stuff sort of started to come flooding back to you and started to feel really distressing for you.
Yeah, look, I think we were okay when the water was sort of flat early on there when we started out. It was great.
Yeah.
Felt really, really okay, and and then just I think as the water got moving a bit, and there was a bit of rapids and that, I don't know, I just started to feel really sick, and felt really awful, and was really worried about the boys sort of going up ahead a bit. I couldn't see them, and it was really overwhelming. Yeah, really fearful. Yeah. Yuck, really horrible feeling. Yeah.
It sounds like an awful feeling to have had, and for all of these thoughts and feelings to have come up that you've thought you've managed previously, sounds really terrifying, and it's not what you were hoping for today when you came out on the river with us.
I think you sort of hit the nail on the head there, mate. I thought I'd managed this and dealt with this a long time ago, hey? I think you sort of put that in a nutshell. I sort of thought I'd gotten through this, but I'm not sure now, not sure.
Have you spoken? I'm wondering if you've spoken to anyone about this before, Frank, because it's really full-on stuff.
Yeah, look, I didn't really get an opportunity to sort of talk much as a kid about it, just sort of told to get through it. And I think probably, I don't know, the family approach was, get back in the water. So it was like swimming in the creek and all that sort of stuff, and business as usual. And that took a while to come at, to be honest. It took me a while to join in. And I think it, when I was a lot younger, it was really hard to do activities with other kids, like jumping off a rope into the dam, and it was just really sort of scary, which sort of sounds sort of funny, I suppose. But I just, it was
not at all.
really, really challenging, and sort of got through that and didn't really talk to anyone then. But I sort of, as I say, many years ago, I sort of had a few thoughts around that, spoke to a counsellor. That my wife sort of recommended to go through the GP and talk to a counsellor. And I had a few sessions and sort of felt okay, so I didn't go back. I actually didn't go back.
Did you find it helpful at that point in time?
Yeah, look, I did. But as I said, I sort of felt pretty level and pretty okay, and thought it was just sort of nothing much, and didn't sort of continue with any more sessions. Just thought that was okay, you know. But yeah.
How do you feel about that now, about the possibility of speaking to somebody else?
Look, I don't mind. I'd prefer like a male, you know, and like to talk to a bloke about it a bit over a woman counsellor if there was an option. But yeah, I don't mind. But I'd like to, because it just sort of today sort of took me by surprise, and it's sort of probably just still feeling a bit sick even as we're talking, and I don't really
you've had
want to do.
that. Sorry.
No, you're right. I just didn't want to do any more on the rapids. I don't really want to go on that section.
That's totally fine. You absolutely do not have to go back on to the rapid section. And it's really understandable that you wouldn't want to do that given your previous experience and everything that's happened today and all these feelings and emotions that have come up. And you're actually telling me you're physically feeling sick. Like that's, we don't want to push you, and we don't want to put you in a position where you're feeling that kind of distress and discomfort.
Great, thanks. Great.
And you said maybe there might be an opportunity for you to speak with somebody else. I'm not sure if you're aware, but our service actually provides trauma counselling for people that have experienced childhood and adult traumatic events or complex trauma. And so we could actually connect you. We've got a couple of male workers that you'd be welcome just to connect with and even have a couple with and see if you like them and if they might be somebody that you'd like to speak with. We can explore that together.
Yeah, well, that's a good idea. I'll think about that. Am I okay to think about that for a bit? I just don't really feel up to it at the moment.
Absolutely,
say
of course
yes
not.
or no. Is that all right?
Of course not. Absolutely, and I can revisit that with you. I can check in with you at another point in time and see whether or not that's something that you would like to go move forward with, or if it's not, that's okay too. The option's always there, and that's open to you at any point in time should you need it.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I don't know. It's as I say, a bit overwhelmed. Just sort of, these feelings and just been gripping me a bit. Sort of really cross. I'm a lot calmer now talking this out. But yeah, initially there I was really, really cross with everyone and just couldn't see the boys. I was really worried about them, and it's all sort of just added to the feelings. It's been really, really hard, today.
Yeah.
So I think about talking to someone. It might be what I need, I think. Yeah.
And like I said, the option's always there for you, but there's no pressure. If you don't feel like it, you definitely don't have to. You don't have to, but yeah, we've got that as part of our service.
Good.
I'm wondering if you might like to start heading back with me now. It's totally fine that you don't want to go down the rapids again, but we might head back to the group and just see where things are at for them at the moment. Does that sound okay with you?
Oh, yeah, as long as you just sort of stand by me. I feel a bit embarrassed about yelling at the boys and feel really sorry for that. And I've got to explain that to Susie as well, don't I? And say sorry to the boys. So feeling pretty uncomfortable at the moment.
And discomfort is really a normal part of the human experience. I'm so sorry you're uncomfortable right now, but I can assure you that once you've talked to your family about what's been going on, I hope that they would be very understanding, particularly that you've spoken to Susie about it in the past, and she supported you through that. So I hope that you're able to be kind to yourself.
It's a funny thing to say, but yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Yeah. I probably haven't been. I probably should have talked to someone a bit earlier, but anyway, there you have it. Yeah. All right.
So as I said, when I do get back to the centre with you, we'll do some case notes together just about what's happened today and why we didn't complete the activity, which is totally fine. It's not a problem at all. And as we discussed, I might check in with you in a couple of days and just see how things are going for you and if you might decide that you'd like a referral onto that other service. And if not, that's also okay. But we would love to stay connected with you moving forward anyway and keep you updated with activities that we've got coming up and different services that we provide.
Well, that sounds good.
Does that sound
you able
okay?
to give us a ring about that? Just give me a bit of time to have a chat with Susie and the boys. And can you give us a ring in a couple of days? Could you do that?
Absolutely. I can give you a call in a couple of days. I'll just take a note of that if that's all right. And I'll make sure that we touch base then.
No worries. Oh, that sounds really good. Thanks for that. Thanks for talking with me today. It has helped me a lot. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing with me. I know that it can't have been easy to have all of that bottled up inside and all of those emotions going on. And you've done such a great job of sharing that. And I'm so glad that it's been helpful to talk today. And I hope we can go back and have some lunch together before we move back to the centre.
Yeah, will you stand by me and while I apologise to everybody?
Absolutely. I'm absolutely here. Yeah.
Good on you. Thank you.
Thanks, Frank.